And as you can see, the music has changed to be a little bit more tense now that Repoforce is kind of staging their last. They got like some super weapon that I think they're trying to threaten the Maverick Hunters with, even though Repoforce, they're not actually Mavericks. They're just honor was their good name was stained by the Maverick Hunters, and that's why they got beef with them. But the Rebel Force still cares about the humans, like General said in a cutscene earlier when he was rallying his troops. This is not about rebelling against the humans. We don't, we're not here to actually go Maverick against them and destroy them. So I'm guessing they're using the final weapon as just kind of like a threat to kind of keep the Maverick Hunters off their case, and I don't think that's really going to work, because naturally Sigma is going to subvert that for its actual purpose, which is to, wreck planet Earth, which we pretty much successfully do in X5, with the Eurasia colony. When you really think about it, and I've probably mentioned this before, if I can find it, I'll link you to it underneath this video. But it's amazing, like, how screwed up. It's amazing that the Earth and the human race really exist at all by the end of the Mega Man X. Well, by the end of Mega Man X series, but really just I was trying to say at first the franchise in general, but really by the end of X, like, how many humans could there possibly be left? Because apparently, like, it actually says somewhere in the beginning of X6 that from the Eurasia colony incident, like 3/4 of the human race was wiped out. So that's actually kind of a big deal. That's like an apocalypse on the level of Final Fantasy VI. When Kefka wrecks the world and it turns from the world of balance into the world of ruin midway through the game. It's kind of a big deal when you think about it. I mean, and they treat it like a short, cutscene when it happens in X5. But you're trying to think, like, how many more of these disasters and worldwide crises because of Sigma, the Mavericks, and everything that happens in all of the Mega Man series that's supposed to happen chronologically after this. Mega Man Zero, Mega Man ZX, I think Star Force is canon. I'm not sure. I haven't played any of it. And then finally ending with Mega Man Legends, where there technically are no humans. It's just like artificial life forms with very human traits. That's what the Carbons are. And barely any place on Earth is still habitable. So yeah, I really liked this fight with Colonel, even though, I managed to play this enough times to where I, figured out how to beat him without much trouble, but he's really cool. And I really, one thing I have to say, by far the best track here, other than the original Japanese song for the intro movie, which again, I'll link that. This is definitely the next best theme in this game, and probably one of the best battle themes period in the X series. I mean, offhand, I can't think of one I like better. Because I think it really lends to the drama in this situation. Again, you can tell I haven't even been hit by Colonel yet, and I've almost got half his HP down, but still, it's still a really good fight, and I like his character. I kind of like, the thing about just personal honor that he's got going here, and he still cares about his sister, even though they're ideologically opposite sides right now. And that was a cool attack, even if it is easily avoidable, as long as you know what's coming. Ooh, he almost got me there. You deserve to be finished off in style, like that, with a flaming uppercut. Impressive, Zero, that's all he's got to say. Zero, tell Iris that our brother died happily. Well, I mean, I'm glad you're not begrudging or have any hard feelings about the fact that we just fought to the death and you lost. That's nice. Unfortunately, this does not set well with Iris. And she's kind of a tragic villain that I'm gonna have to fight next. We'll notice that she is no longer safely at Hunter Base. So now she's actually left with the Repliforce, and she's determined to get revenge against Zero, but more in a just like, I have nothing left to live for, not seemingly not so personal. It's just she's so... I think she just lost her mind with the destruction of her brother, because they were kind of created to be that inseparable, to where it literally, as much as you can say it this way for a robot, a non-human creature, she's lost her mind. Like, it has caused her to literally break down mentally. So, and it took me a while. It took me a while to understand what this was. I mean, I actually had to look it up. At first, I didn't get what it was right here that she's actually using to... Because, I mean, first of all, she's obviously not a... she wasn't created for martial purposes. She is the pacifist half of the Colonel. So I was wondering, how it is she's able to fight me here and encase herself in this impenetrable armor. And there's actually a fascinating story I looked up a long, long time ago. I think it was on Game FAQs. I don't know if it's official. I mean, it should be. I see no reason for it not to be, even though I never looked up, okay, is this what Capcom says about it? But this thing she's holding is actually Colonel's recovered CPU chip or something like that contains his fighting spirit, and that's what she's using right now to be able to actually, become a match for you in battle, to encase herself in this armor that is impenetrable. If it wasn't for the fact that every now and then that large purple diamond, or hexadron, or whatever you call that shape, the reason that comes out every now and then and makes her vulnerable, because that's what you attack, is that's actually the Colonel's fighting spirit rejecting her. Like, she's not able to contain that because that is not what she was built for personality-wise. So that's why this actually comes out every now and then and gives you a chance to damage her. And that really makes a cool kind of sense. I think that's a clever idea for this battle. And also, I really gotta hand it to the music on this one, and I think Iris is going to actually get me on this one. Because you kind of have to keep pushing her back, and you have to time this just right to where the beam shooting upward will not be lined up with where you are clinging to the wall. Otherwise, you screw yourself. So you got to time when you jump out of the way and cling to the wall right there. Yeah, those last little mines got me. So yeah, that's a really cool idea for this fight. The music is good. I mean, all in all, it's little things like this that all together make X4 one of the better games. Even if I said overall the music track, at least in comparison to X1, X2, probably X2 as well, and X3 is lacking. I guess I just mean... I mean, even the ones that are considered bad, you can at least still kind of rock out to it for the most part. It sounds like it belongs in an X game. It's just more like a couple of them are just unpleasant to listen to. I just can't really listen to them on their own, you know? So yeah, this is like a more subdued version, if you can hear it in the background. A more subdued version of the fight of the Colonel's battle theme. They'll also do the Colonel's battle theme for General, which I liked, and I think, yeah, if I slid down the wall too much, I was worried I was gonna slide down into the horizontal purple beam, but I knew I was taking a risk by trying to cling up on the... And I went too soon. The game slowing down really screwed up my timing there. But I think we got her. We'll finish this with a plunging attack. And, you know, people make fun of Zero's voice acting, in this scene. You know, no, what am I fighting for? But overall, I'm glad this scene is in here. I mean, I can't help but feel sorry for Zero and Iris here.
Zero,
Hang in there, Iris.
please, stay away from Replophos. Let's live together. In a world where only Reploids exist.
Iris, there's no world just for Reploid. It's only a fantasy.
Yes, I know, but I wanted to believe it. I wanted to live in a world where only Reploids exist. With you.
Iris! Iris!
Yep, she did.
Iris! Iris! Iris!
Of course,
Iris!
this video is probably even more famous than I think, but you know, of course, the funniest version of this is where you know, they show this little bit right here with Zero shouting close up of his face, and but they play over Dante's horribly voice acted line from Devil May Cry 1 where he's like, I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light. I got that one saved. It's a treasure. Okay, I think the upper path is more suited for Zero since he can double jump, so it's a little bit easier to get over the spikes. So I consider it a little less dangerous overall than, you know, if I hadn't accidentally double jumped again to get over those missiles. I consider it less dangerous overall than going the lower route, which, you know, there's very sparse platforms right there. It's pretty much one giant bottomless pit. And I need to get across and take that hit, because from the concentrated beam would have been a much bigger problem. And I'll use my invincibility to get over that. Okay, no problem. Yeah, the final stages of the game really aren't that long. I mean, really all that's after this is Sigma and the repeat Maverick bosses. That's it. So there wasn't much to this this final weapon satellite station thingy in outer space where the Replophorus was kind of going to mount their last attempt for independence from for the Maverick Hunters and the humans. General, this isn't a very good fight. It's kind of slow going, mainly because General himself is so slow, but I kind of understand that considering how big he is. It's just not exciting, but you know, still the theme is good, and I like General's character. This is a little bit slow going since I really just don't have anything. I mean, I can kind of use that, you know, my, you know, like go all out R2 attack on him, but you know, it really doesn't do anything. So pretty much the only thing I can use is my just kind of jump into him and back out attack. There's no special weapons to use or anything. Luckily, you can kind of get in, as long as his fists are not, you know, actually being used in an attack animation of any sort, you can touch his fists. So that enables you to kind of plunge down into him like this when he's kind of just scooting around like that. I don't know why he's doing that now instead of actually trying to attack. Does he really think I'm going to be able to... It's going to be an unavoidable attack for if he just keeps moving back and forth? I mean, he's gargantuan, but he's also slow, so I can pretty easily get out of the way of that. He also has that attack too. I thought if I went under him, I could goad him into showing it off. But I mean, you know, it's pretty easy to avoid, as you can see. It's not very quick. Now that one he surprised me with. I did remember that he does that instead of shooting out his fist sometimes when he's off on the side, but you know, I just wasn't thinking about it because he hadn't done it in so long. I guess he's probably prompted to do it if he's like kind of off screen when you, or no, I had him firmly on screen right there, and yet he still did it instead of shooting out his fists. So. Yeah, this one is a little bit harder to get attacks in on because there's no jumping room there over the little glowing orbs that he's shooting out of his arm stumps, because this one's too close to the ceiling. So we are going to avoid that for now. And I don't know why I let myself get hit by that. That was pretty pathetic. Managed to get him a little bit with the Giga attack. Yeah, I bragged about how, you know, the last time I actually did a recording of this game years and years ago on VHS, I got through this battle without taking, you know, one hit, and I'm actually kind of used to pretty much doing it with very, very little damage on my part, to where it was just seemingly so easy, but now I'm kind of sucking at this one, even though I'm pretty sure I'm going to win. Alright there, buddy. Just gonna go ahead and take the hit and finish this so I can, yeah. But General is badass enough to have survived this. He doesn't, this isn't like his final moments like with Colonel. He survives. And he's telling me that, wait, something else is controlling the weapon now. And I'm like, oh, gee, I wonder who that is. Who's actually going to use it for a much more sinister purpose, as in actual destruction. That would be Sigma. Hopefully this oh, okay, well, close enough to the top. I think I'll be able to get that filled up before meeting with Sigma. Because they replenish a large energy capsule like after every teleporter you go into. I'm gonna try out a flame uppercut again. It might not be that good, but I have a vague memory that it does a little bit more damage to it. Nope, it sure doesn't. No point in using that. Giga attack? Nope, all that did was entrap me. And now that I can double jump, I really no longer have to use the walls to kind of do a dash jump off of in order to avoid the web. As long as I don't jump too soon, because then, you know, the web will kind of travel up with me and be too far up to avoid. Oh god, that didn't even take care of all his little minions that came out, even though they die in one hit. Kind of thought, you know, each segment of the Giga attack would, you know, travel through them easily. I do like how you had the extra bit of explosions in the background from the web formation. You know, that was the other thing. like, I thought you really couldn't, at the time, before X4 came out, I didn't think you'd be able to top the coolness of the explosions in Mega Man X2 and 3, which kind of changed color and also packed a lot more of a punch than X1's, the very original type boss explosion. But this one is like way more awesome than either one of those two earlier forms. Oh, okay, I am stuck in here. Oh, he's doing it again. He was trying to sucker me into coming in close. And I think the frame lags here kind of actually causing me to misjudge my jumps somehow. Oh. I should have grabbed that energy capsule to ensure I would fill up my energy tank in case I don't leave any of these boss battles with full health. You're just gonna keep on doing that, aren't you? Yeah, he's about to do his homing missile, which is really hard to avoid. And I was just sitting there lollygagging instead of staying focused. That's another plus to this game. Offhand, I'd say most of the bosses are pretty cool ideas. So they definitely don't have near as stupid names as like X7 or X8 did. And sometimes X5 and X6 really took the cake as well. But I'm definitely down with Frost Walrus, Magma Dragoon, Cyber Peacock, Storm Owl. I always wondered what it was. I guess just to, give some visual difference to the room and, emphasize that this is a repeat fight instead of your original confrontation with. The fact that this doesn't look like water so much anymore as it is like some kind of radioactive sludge. Do a little short burst of the glacier attack there in order to take care of them. And that time I kind of managed to time where I hit with the glacier better to where I wouldn't fall down on top of him. Almost did that flawlessly. Oh, he's completely immune to the flame attack. Interesting. I forgot that. Okay, I believe next is Split Mushroom. You know what, I'll give him a fighting chance. Yes, my voice just cracked. I still apparently have not gotten past that particular aspect of puberty, despite being 37. I'll give him a fighting chance by pretty much using my normal attacks here. Well, except for that. I don't like these clones being all about. Yeah, I like his wee attack here. Oh wait, no, that's not where he goes wee. Never mind. Hopefully he does it. 'Cause I like his voice. I'm not sure I necessarily like other aspects of his character, like the way he fights or how he looks, but I definitely like the voice acting. Oh yeah, I think he does Wii at some point if I let him get high enough when he's before defeating his clone. If I don't defeat in time, yeah, when he starts doing this, if I let him headbutt me or head dive. And wow, I didn't even realize all this time I was losing, huh? You know, I take that back. Overall, I did kind of like the way he fights. I mean, it's only lame if you had the special weapon, but then again, a lot of bosses are where you're just, because you're like totally knocking them out of any attacks that they can do. Alright, just pay attention to which one is not blinking, and that's not the false one. Wonder if it's possible to finish him off before any of these guys attack. And I'm trying desperately to do an uppercut there. I think he was immune to it. That's interesting. As badass as Magma Dragoon is, his attack simply does not work against some bosses. Come on, game, help me out here. Just about 10-15 more minutes to go. Stay with me. I do like when, you know, it kind of leaves him vulnerable to attack, but not for very long. So I think it's worth doing. The fact that he just kind of does that aggressive pose at you, yeah, like right there. I like that he kind of adds that in his attacks. I mean, other than that, he's a pretty fierce opponent. So I think he can afford to do a slight taunt-esque moment of vulnerability there. I mean, let's face it, for a lot of us, on the earlier Mortal Kombat games, if it wasn't for Shao Kahn doing that, you know, thing where he literally just stands there, leaves himself wide open just long enough to taunt you in some way, some of us would never beat him. That guy was Nintendo hard, as they would say, in the earlier games. I've heard a lot of people say he's an absolute bastard to fight, even in Mortal Kombat 9. Where it's just kind of hard to get control of the fight unless you were just the absolute master and know exactly what to do. You know, one thing I always thought, it was just weird, and I'm sure it's accidental. I mean, I'm sure it's not supposed to be this at all. And I think I remarked on this back during Ixion's LP of it, but I always thought that one shape in the sky, in the background, I don't know. I don't know if you can see it, that's just kind of extends from the black part into the pinkish, reddish part. I always thought that was supposed to be like, I couldn't help but think of it as Cyber Peacock's head, like just a shadow of it somehow, like not actually him, but you know. I was like, I mean, is that what it's supposed to be? I don't know why it would be, you know, him and nobody else, for instance, but, you know, I just like to think of it that way. I'm just seeing, like, general shape of, you know, an avian-like head with the hooked beak, you know, kind of off to the side of it. Alright, so I believe we have Storm Owl and Magma Dragoon left. But yeah, I really like this dude's intro pose too. Like, salute you, but really, really aggressively. Now, the closer you are to Storm Owl when you use this attack, the more damage it will do. So you kind of, you know, it's a little bit risky, but you take a little bit of a chance, like him getting very close to you. And before he can connect with an attack, you just do your Giga attack to where, you know, he'll be in, you know, an invincible frame and he will take damage. But also you gotta kind of do it to where if that's not his final blow, well then make it to where he's not quite on top of you so that you won't still get hit even once you're out of the, you know, the attack frames. Alright, it's time to do this legit with Magma Dragoon. Come on, I used to be able to do this all the time, even though it was always an intense fight for me, but it used to not be near this much of a problem taking care of Magma Dragoon legit without the ride armor as to be able to soak in damage. And I did not anticipate his attack correctly the first time. Okay, we'll sneak in attack right there, and then, yeah. And I fell down too soon. Okay, I managed to predict that one correctly, thankfully. Oh! Okay, so far I think we got the advantage. And it's a good thing that I did not just assume that he would be stuck in, you know, facing that side when doing his string of Hadoukens. Oh yeah, that's his meteor attack right there. And I managed to completely avoid it by doing the Giga attack. That works. Okay, fine, I'm just gonna Glacier you then, which does... You are invulnerable to, sir. Got you anyway, though. But yeah, I think I love Magma Dragoon the best out of any Maverick boss in X, just purely on account of the fight. I mean, well, he also looks cool and has a cool name, so that helps. But just the fights you have with him is the deciding factor there for me. Now, one thing Ix glossed over right here when he LP'd it was... I was like, oh, dude, why'd you do that? Because, like, there was a cutscene. Well, first of all, I don't know if he just didn't want to go through them. I don't know. Maybe they would have hung up his game for his particular setup when he LP'd it. I don't know. But he totally skipped over all the animated scenes. And I'm like, of all ones that you had to skip, like, this one kind of defines the X series. It's kind of like the origins of the Maverick virus. It actually was not Sigma, but Zero. I mean, this was a big surprise for me when I first played through this game. And then later on I figured out, you know, because of all the scenes in X5, and you get a little bit of a hint at it, when Sigma, you see the shadow of Wily in the intro cutscene for Zero Story in this game. or a shadow of what you assume to be Wily.
What's our current
And also Sigma alludes to it that he actually met like what I can assume is just the malevolent spirit of Dr. Wily, who's lived on just with his sheer hatred for Mega Man in some way, form, or fashion, and that's why he created Zero. Like the Maverick virus, to my understanding, is pretty much just the essence of Wily's just hatred and chaos. Chaos. It's just pure chaos. So, and of course, thus, it came from Zero. This is a cutscene when Sigma used to be a Maverick hunter, and everybody was so frightened of Zero, he was like, by far the strongest Maverick. I mean, he was tearing apart through other, Maverick hunters easily, and they finally asked Sigma to step in and take care of him. So, roles were reversed here, essentially. It's very interesting. Now, yeah, the little bits where you're doing like these anime speed lines in the background, and when Zero was doing like the flurry of punches, the way that kind of looked was dumb. You kind of expect something like that to happen in anime, though. So it's not too terrible. I think the cutscene is worth it to have this fight between them and explain the origins that Sigma was not originally the main villain. The Maverick virus comes from Zero. Further back, Wily. So in a sense, Sigma is an innocent victim. But I've always assumed because of how evil, I tried to say evil and Sigma at the same time. I was about to come out as Evema, something like that, I think. Because of Sigma is just, completely chaotic evil personality after this. I kind of assume, I justify it by saying, well, he's ultimately the villain to blame and not Zero, even though the virus came from Zero, because it's like, I think it just kind of shows that all along Sigma was, just kind of had the evil gene in him all along in some way or another, that this was his true most heart. So that's why it was the Maverick virus managed to make him so unstoppable and persist for so long. Is because, at heart, essentially, he was evil and Zero had good at heart, even though the roles are reversed right now. I mean, Zero is clearly like the psychopath, the violent psycho in this scene for once. I mean, look at him laughing like that. And of course, you see the W symbol, meaning he was created by Wily. And this is how Sigma manages to, kind of bring the battle to an end, even though it's kind of a draw, really.
Look, it's Commander Sigma.
So it's like at heart, Sigma wanted to be, on the side of evil and chaos all along. Zero, despite his sort of anti-hero personality, at least when you compare it to X's, Zero was good at heart, or at least wants to be. So I guess that's why we finally kind of, ultimately settled on Zero as a hero, Sigma as a great villain. But still, to some degree, it does make me pity Sigma, and I like that, that it does kind of complicate the character dynamic between Sigma, Zero, X, and all the others. It does kind of complicate it by saying, there is a small amount of pity that I can have for Sigma thanks to learning about, the real origins of the virus due to this scene. And X just skipped right over it. I'm like, dude, what'd you do that for when he LP'd it?
Are you ready for your final journey?
Alright, well, here we are, final battle. Let's see if I can do this in first try. This first part is really easy as long as you're staying sharp. Kind of stay to one side, trick Sigma into appearing on that side as you dash to the other, and you'll be able to avoid his attack easily enough. Every other time he appears, and he does this like clockwork, as long as you flame uppercut him in time, you won't have to worry about him doing an attack during any of these other times he appears. It's like 1, and then 2, and every third time is the attack that I can't knock him out of. Or at least as far as I remember, I can't knock him out of that third attack. And I misjudged the timing on that because the frames lagged. That took a lot of unnecessary damage there. But, according to Sigma, that was just a warm-up fight. He ain't lying. Okay, so kind of avoid that arc attack and then try to get this on the wall. And then dash over the wall or double jump. I think double jump would work better in order to get over Sigma's head so you can't get affected by the laser. And I was not close enough to the wall there in order for the hammer to land vertically. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw that fight because I could have done that a lot better. The frames lagging just kind of seemingly at random are not helping. I do like that background too. I really have no idea what it is, but I mean, maybe it's the mouth of the cannon mouth of the final weapon. I'm not sure. Even though the laser wouldn't look that big to destroy a planet, well, it probably didn't when it came out of the Death Star either, and yet look, it destroyed Alderaan in one blow, so I'm assuming whatever... I just like this warm-up for him where he's just wearing that cloak. Alright, did that without damage, so we're off to a good start. Kind of hang towards the wall there, and then I gotta make sure not to get so close to the wall that the scythe ends up kind of hitting me, striking me with the staff part. The longer portion as it's hitting the wall. And I find this much harder to do while avoiding taking damage with X, because of course X doesn't have the double jump. You can kind of use the lightning web to climb over, and I guess possibly if you time it just well enough, you'll be able to stay over the elongated laser coming out of his eyes at that portion, but you know, of course, that's definitely a lot harder to do, so at least for me it is, than just double jumping over Sigma's head to the opposite wall. But I can't get careless in this last fight. May still need that energy tank. Yeah, but that's the other thing. Also, with Zero, it's much easier to do damage to half of Sigma's final form here. He kind of comes in two different phases. It's like two different life bars you have to deplete. And with Zero, on this portion right here, you can just double jump straight up underneath it.
Space dust.
And do a good amount of damage. But with X, you cannot. It's not that easy. And at the same time, you take a lot more damage having to fight that particular portion of Sigma where it's like where you kind of have to do a ground attack. It's a little bit harder with Zero than with X, because with X you can kind of stay away since you have a ranged attack for that purpose. But with Zero you got to get up in there. And you just kind of have to goad his little mini space laser into firing, you know, somewhere else where it can't quite reach you. I mean, it's pretty easy. Oh. And I've always hated this right here because it just does major damage. I mean, I really have never discovered a way with Zero or X to avoid taking damage from it. And I lollygagged too long on the... I thought it was still too early to use the energy tank.
Tremble with terror. You are finished.
Alright, we'll just focus on the battle here if you don't mind my silence for a few minutes. Dips. Oh, the energy capsule at the beginning of the next portion will take care of that. I knew I could finish it no matter what he did.
Prepare to become space dust.
I did kind of like how he, you know, he said at the beginning, like when you first fight him, if you don't die and then try again, where he says Iris is waiting for you. Then here his just pre-battle banter, no matter what, is prepare to become space dust. Oop. Should have tried jumping over that one instead. Okay, I'm gonna get you out of my way so I can more easily... Oh, I didn't realize I can't get up underneath his arms if I end up bumping heads with that. That's interesting, but fair. Okay, please do the wind blowing attack. Please do the wind blowing attack. Yes. I get less damage in overall, but it's also safer. Alright, I also had to be prepared for it to do yeah, that attack right there. I wonder if I should go ahead and... Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Just gotta be sure not to screw this up. I thought if I touched any part of that explosion that goes along the ground floor at all, then I'd be screwed, but thankfully I'm not. Trying to avoid it. It does a lot of damage. Okay, that's done. This last part should not be an issue then. There we go. He's like, well, haha, the Earth's screwed anyway. So here is where we get General's valiant sacrifice to stop it. Because again, the Rebel Force never harbored any hatred against the human race, so they definitely didn't want to, you know, just destroy it and, well, everything like the Mavericks and especially Sigma do. He died an honorable death. I salute you, General. Yeah, Zero, you want to teleport out of there so you don't needlessly sacrifice yourself too. Yep, and that's definitely Wily. I forgot that his shadow becomes a little bit more distinct in the ending scene.
So, this is what happened to me. This is my fate. I couldn't save anyone after all.
Yeah, Wily didn't exactly create you to do deeds of goodness or beneficial in any way, like rescuing people, Zero. It was pretty much just to be walking chaos.
I'll turn out to be Mavericks after all.
And I never got what he said right there, Iris, and then something like Mavericks after all. Did he say something like, did we all turn out to be Mavericks after all? I mean, in a sense she did, because this war between the Hunters and the Rebel Force was completely needless. Sigma duped them both because they're both stupid. But still, I never understood the full sentence of what he was saying right there. Sounded important and dramatic, though. Okay, well, yeah, good LP, guys. I still didn't quite finish that as fast as I thought I was going to. This was about 2 hours. I really thought I could do it in an hour and a half, and probably died a good 10 times or so. Not my best, but also far better than any of the later X games. So, thank you for staying with me on that. And also, during my week off, I have about 5 full days left. I was planning on starting on Resident Evil 6. This is going to be solo. Like I said before, at least a few times, at first I wasn't planning on doing it because when Lantis and I attempted it, somehow just the game sucks so hard in its own ways, even though overall it really isn't that bad. It was just so frustrating that Lantis and I could not make a good LP out of this. So, but I think I'm ready to at least attempt this on my own. We're gonna try it, and yeah, I will see you then. Should be quite shortly. I'm gonna try to at least get Leon's campaign in before my days off are up. And also, if you would please, for those of you that have not have been interested only in the LP portion of my channel, if you are a big reader or were, as you know, in your younger years as a kid, something like that, please do also check out my Let's Reads of the Bunnicula books and the Henry Huggins and Ramona Quimby books that I've done so far, beloved books from my childhood. Also, in particular, also did extra couple of stories from what is called simply Horror Stories. It was a compilation book I found a long time ago as a child, and I tried to reclaim it a few years ago off of Amazon. Thankfully, I found it because it had some really good short stories that stuck with me in my memory throughout my childhood up to now. I also have a few of those up as single 20-minute short story videos that I've also done a Let's Read on as well, so please check them out, and I will see you next time. Thank you for listening.